Hey yo, even I only got a GED, I'm a sociologist. Hey yo, Corey Red, last of the raw breed. The Lord desires those who worship him willingly. He never force feed. I swing swords like guillotines. Better yet, my words are like two sticks in the hands of a Philippine. And I don't even care if you feeling me. I'm secure in my identity. Dwell with God Almighty throughout infinity. I was a thief like Alibaba. Walk the streets with the mind of Christ deeper than a Shaolin monk or Tibetan Lama. Flow from the heart, war with the dog. Churches label me heretic, wanna burn me alive like Joan of Arc. I'm at war with religion. It causes division. Through the blood of Christ, all are forgiven. Without it, all are in prison. Fishing for souls, my flows are like invisible gases inside of coal mines, which eventually blows. I'm from the Bronx, nice with my hands, but I'd rather walk away from a fight and suffer with Christ in the land.
All we say to America is be true to what you said on paper. What you said on paper. Be true to what you said on paper.
How you guys doing? Jason Kuhn here, giving my Facebook article updates for October 4th, 2013. Let's jump right in it here. We got Infowars.com, Adam Salazar, D.C. cops running drill on same day as Capitol shooting. A joint training exercise ending today, in addition to barricades and checkpoints placed at the White House, may have played a role in the horrific police execution of a woman today at the National's Capitol. According to a report featured on Army.mil, this is the last day federal, state, local, and municipal agencies will be testing interagency operability during a crisis impacting the District of Columbia, as part of a joint exercise known as Capitol Shield 14. Capitol Shield 2014 is a joint training exercise in the National Capital Region, or NCR, that runs from September 30th through October 3rd and is hosted by Joint Force Headquarters, National Capital Region, the Army's report says. The NCR includes Washington, D.C.'s metropolitan area. The drill also trains and prepares the Department of Defense to provide defense support to civil authorities and employ appropriate force protections measured as requested. Force protection measures necessary to protect the homeland like those employed today in the brutal shooting of 34-year-old dental hygienist. The ongoing drill might be one reason first responders were heightened in a state of alert when they shot the panicked mother at least 12 times, who was likely just lost in a maze of government shutdown and joint training exercise barricades and checkpoints. We'll move on. ABCnews.com, Capitol suspect Miriam Carey believed Obama electronically monitored her. The woman who led police on a high-speed chase near the U.S. Capitol before being shot dead had a history of mental illness and believed President Barack Obama was electronically monitoring her Connecticut home in order to broadcast her live on television, sources said. Kind of sounds like that John Kerry movie, The Truman Show. Let's move on. HuffingtonPost.com, Obama Social Security checks will stop when debt ceiling is reached. President Barack Obama said Thursday that while it's bad members of Congress have allowed a government shutdown, it would be worse if they failed to increase the government's borrowing authority later this month. First and foremost, he said, retirement and disability benefits for millions of Americans would be at risk. In a government shutdown, Social Security checks still go out on time, Obama said. In an economic shutdown, if we don't raise the debt ceiling, they don't go out on time. There you go. RT.com, Saudi black op team behind Damascus chemical weapons attack, diplomatic sources say. The August chemical attack in the Syrian capital suburbs was done by Saudi Arabian black operations team, Russian diplomatic sources have told a Russian news agency. Based on the data from a number of sources, a picture can be pieced together. The criminal provocation in eastern Ghouta was done by a black op team that the Saudis sent through Jordan and which acted with support of the Liwi al-Assam group, a source in the diplomatic circles told Interfax. The attack had its consequences, had a huge impact on the Syrian situation, another source said. Syrians of various political views, including some opposition fighters, are seeking to inform diplomats and members of the international organizations working in Syria what they know about the crime and the forces which inspired it, he told the news agencies. Let's move on. Salon.com, NSA director admits to misleading public on terror plots. Wow. In so many words, NSA Director Keith Alexander admitted Wednesday that the Obama administration had issued misleading information about terror plots and their foiling to bolster support for the government's vast surveillance apparatus. During Wednesday's hearing, Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Patrick Leahy pushed Alexander to admit that the plot numbers had been fudged in a revealing interchange. There is no evidence that bulk phone records collections helped to thwart dozens or even several terrorist plots, said Leahy. The Vermont Democrat then asked the NSA chief to admit that only 13 out of the previously cited 54 cases of foiled plots were genuinely the fruits of government's vast dragnet surveillance system. Those weren't all plots, and they weren't all foiled, Leahy said, asking Alexander, would you agree with that, yes or no? Yes, replied Alexander. Let's move on. PoliceState.USA.com. PoliceStateUSA.com, sorry. Massachusetts college student faces up to 10 years in prison for owning standard gun magazines. A student of the University of Massachusetts has been arrested and charged with bearing arms in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts for possessing some standard rifles and magazines in his home and harming no one. This young man could face up to 10 years in prison. Proud of their work, local enforcements bragged about their seizure on Facebook. There you go. Gun control at its finest. We'll move on to Breitbart.com. Jerry Brown, illegal immigrant driver's license, only the first step. The latest bill to pass his desk, granting illegal immigrants the ability to apply for driver's licenses in the state, is only the first step of national movement, the governor told a crowd yesterday. The bill, now law, had sat at the governor's desk before but was rejected by Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. Governor Brown, in contrast, welcomed the change as giving undocumented California residents the ability to drive legally and with respect. An acknowledgement of people who by their fervor, their faith, and their numbers transformed California. Some illegal immigrants were already allowed to apply for driver's license had they arrived in the state as children. That distinction will end as per this bill in 2015. Let's move on. Another Breitbart.com. A female student in Canyon High School in Anaheim Hills was ordered to change out of her t-shirt because it promoted the NRA. According to CBS Los Angeles, Haley Bullwinkle said she was sent to the principal's office in September for violating the school's dress code that forbids offensive, violent, or divisive clothing. The offensive shirt was a gift from Bullwinkle's father, which he gave her after he became a member of the NRA. The shirt shows a buck, an American flag, and a hunter's silhouette. Under is inscribed National Rifle Association of America, protecting America's traditions since 1871. Wow, how offensive, violent, and divisive. Let's move on. GunsandFreedom.com. SWAT officer is asked by school not to wear his uniform and gun when picking up his daughter. You would think a school would have enough sense to welcome an armed SWAT officer instead of asking him to disarm himself when coming onto school property when he picked up his daughter from school. But apparently the sight of a gun was just too scary for some parents to handle, and they decided to take action. There's a video included in this if you want to check this out. Ince Elementary School in Mesa, Arizona received some complaints about the armed officer having a gun, so the principal of the school called him up and made a very audacious request asking him not to wear his gun and uniform at school because it alarmed some of the parents. Wow, if I was parents and my children were attending this school, I would remove them right away. It sounds like a false flag setup. I mean, you don't want a SWAT officer there just in case something goes down? I mean, I thought we were supposed to be worried about all these school shootings. Let's move on. RightWingNews.com. Lesbians adopt a boy, chemically transform him into a pseudo-girl. Wow. The lesbian parents of an 11-year-old boy who is undergoing the process of becoming a girl defended the decision, claiming it was better for a child to have a sex change when young. Thomas Lobel, who now calls himself Tammy, is undergoing controversial hormone blocking treatment at Berkeley, California, to stop him from going through puberty as a young boy. Wow. Adoptive guardians Polly Marino and Deborah Lobel warned that the children with gender identity disorder forced to postpone transitioning could face a higher risk of suicide. Whereas if they are freakified through grotesque medical practices best left on the island of Dr. Moreau, they live happily ever after. Just ask Nancy Verheist. No, wait, you can't. She had herself put out of her misery like a deformed dog. Nancy Verheist, I can't remember what country she lived in, but she was a woman who wanted to become a man, and she was so horrified of what a monster she looked like, having her breast removed and having a penis added to her. She had the country she lives in euthanize her. I guess that's legal there. That's all the articles I got for you guys today. Let me give you my New World Order quote for the day by George Herbert Walker Bush, September 11th, 1990. Out of these troubled times, our objective, a new world order, can emerge today. Today, that new world is struggling to be born, a world quite different from the one we have known. My Proverbs for the day, Proverbs 23:9, King James only. Speak not in the ears of a fool, for he will despise the wisdom of thy words. Thanks for listening to me today, guys. Check me out on Facebook, Jason A. Coon. Check me out on YouTube, Jason A. Coon. Also check out my ministry page on Facebook, Romans 12:2, Transformer Ministries. And I'll leave you guys off with the song I brought you in on by Corey Red, Sociology.
You let them financially rape you. Throw away your dignity. It's all about the paper. You'll be on the cover of mags and TV, all over the net, radio pushing your CD. You'll be famous, millions of fans that hear you. Who cares if you betrayed the man in the mirror? Cause the man in the mirror is broke, that ain't cool. So go do what them industry folks say do. If I say go kill your brother, they say cool. If I say don't kill your brother, they say boo. Now what do I do in this catch-22? Please God, preach hard and make moves. Some label me fool, cause I'm dwelling in exile. Stay tuned, next album you get the next style.
And I'm always happy to see a relevant ministry. A relevant ministry. I'm always happy to see a relevant ministry.
Hey yo, my brother Dr. King had a dream. Everybody was like, yeah, but not me. It was different. I had a nightmare. I seen helicopters in the air, missiles flying, civilian casualties, little kids dying, Hollywood sign burning on